Mr. Speaker, I yield such time as he may consume to the gentleman from California, Mr. Farr.
The gentleman from California, Mr. Farr, is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and thank you very much for yielding. It's always a delight to work with your committee and on this very important bill. The southern sea otters are a keystone species, as the chairwoman pointed out. That means that if they break the chain, the whole ecological system falls apart. And essentially what you find in the oceans are the sea urchins are kind of like the snails of the ocean. They eat the seaweed. And if the sea urchins go unchecked, you'll clear cut the oceans and have no habitat for all the fish and other things that live in the kelp beds. So the sea otters, by eating urchins, and frankly we have a big urchin industry in California as well, have been compatible for years and years. The problem we have with the southern sea otters is that it's a remarkable recovery, and it's a tribute to federal law that listed them because there were less than 100 animals, and now they're up to about 2,000. But guess what? They're not growing, and they're less than there were a few years ago. So there is something happening to this species that nobody can understand, and that's why you need specific legislation to try to get, as the bill points out, it's a research bill. And I want to point out to the ranking member, Mr. Hastings, that where he pointed out that you shouldn't have these management sort of by single caveat, although in law, the African elephant, the bald and the golden eagle, and I know those are important to you in your district, the Tule Elk Preservation Act, the Fur Seal Act, the Crown of Thorns Starfish Act, the North Pacific Halibut Act, the Salmon Conservation Act, and the Atlantic Striped Bass Conservation. Those are just 8 which I could quickly find, and I'm sure there's a lot more. I think that the crisis here of the sea otter, and frankly it's a big economic issue too, because those of us that live along the central coast of California, it is a big draw for tourism. And that's why the Monterey Bay Aquarium, their single most looked at and visited exhibit is the sea otters. So this bill came about with a lot of work from a lot of organizations. There's 13 organizations that have gone in support of this bill and brought these issues to us, including the Defenders of Wildlife, Friends of the Sea Otter, the Humane Society of the United States, the Marine Conservation Biology Institute, the Natural Resources Defense Council, Oceana, and many others. And they represent about 14 million members. So I'm pleased that we were able to work out this bill with the committee and bring it to the floor and hopefully get it adopted so that we can figure out why this canary species, if the sea otters are dying, then something else is happening that is very keen to the coastal nearshore environment that affects the well-being of mankind. So I appreciate your support on this bill. It's important to good science and to the preservation of our marine ecosystem.